Hey, thank you for having me. So I'm here kind of like having my member of the board of the Erlang Foundation hat on. And I want to give you like a very short presentation, so I cut it down to the essentials, like what's it about and why you want to be involved with it. No. I hate these Google Slides. Oh, there's no mission. Oh, somebody made builds there. I hate builds also. Yeah, it's not my slides. And I don't use Google Slides normally. So the key objective for the Erlang Ecosystem Foundation, so first it's Erlang ecosystem. So it's about all the languages on the beam. So it's not about Erlang, but I mean, as we kind of like today heard, kind of like Erlang is the inner core, because you always need to install Erlang if you want to install any other language. And kind of like the name after a lot of bike shedding that we came up with is Erlang Ecosystem Foundation. I hope this reflects it well. So the key objectives is like we want to kind of coordinate the languages on the beam, like that they work better together. Support and fund initiatives. So we basically have money by now, and we actually sponsoring or not sponsoring, giving stipends to projects, to open source projects, to improve the ecosystem and expand the ecosystem to doing training, doing like increasing adoption and getting the word out. And also very important, like that there's a complement to Ericsson for the ecosystem, because the OTP team, while doing great work, their main priority is their internal customers at Ericsson. So the 400 Erlang programmers at Ericsson are the customers for the OTP team that they need to cater on, and basically if they need something that we also need, then it's fine for us. But if we need something else that nobody else in Ericsson wants to have, then we have to wait until they get some time. And so the Ecosystem Foundation is like giving, organizing the work around this outside of Ericsson. So, so Fred made this nice little drawing. You might notice the style from his books. So that's how it looks basically. That's the Erlang Ecosystem Foundation. The yellow-green box, that's the foundation. In the foundation, we have the members, most important, that's you, or at least a few of you, not enough of you. The members, they vote for the board members, and they can also vote on other things, depending on, and the board members like elect directors, and the directors kind of like can spend the money. There's lawyers and accountants. The board basically creates working groups, but the initiative for working groups comes from the members. And so the working groups consult with the members and report back to the board. And the projects over there, that's the thing we want to give stipends on, or actually we already did. So the working groups manage these projects, and then these projects are useful things that are used by corporations maybe, hopefully, and the corporations are sponsors. That's where the main money comes from. Also from the members, but the main money comes from sponsorship in the foundation. So that's a quick rundown. So speaking of members, there's different members. There's supporting members, which basically are members who pay for the membership. There's also a basic membership, which is kind of like you don't pay anything, but you also don't get much. You get emails. And you're counted as a member. So it's kind of like an intermediate stage to get one of the other memberships. And you can get supporting member, which can vote for the board and on other elections. There's also managing and contributing members. That's kind of like where you need the basic membership for as a springboard for. Managing is basically board members and working group leads. And contributing members are kind of like putting in sweat equity and get their voting rights by that. So if you have time but less money, then you can actually help out in a working group. The expected amount is like at least 5 hours a month on average, and then you're allowed to vote too. And then there's also fellows, which kind of like get appointed by a special working group, and the members vote for the fellows, and then you basically get membership for life. So, working groups. I think that's the current list of working groups. I hope I didn't forget anything. So there's multiple working groups in the first point: marketing, infrastructure, sponsorship, and fellowship. By the way, marketing, thank you to Desmond for leading the marketing working group for the last year, and also helping a lot bootstrapping the foundation. He was great help, so thank you. Maybe. Infrastructure is about the internal infrastructure, setting up a web server, sorry. Sponsorship, fellowship, basically getting new sponsors, appointing fellows, building and packaging, that's kind of like making, mainly making Rebar 3 and Mix working together better and improving the build and packaging tooling. Also Hex is their interoperability, is about language interoperability. So that, like, my wish would be that if I, on the Erlang side, want to use an Elixir dependency, that I can just pull it in and then, let's say, Rebar 3 pulls in the Elixir compiler as a dependency, and it just works seamlessly. And I can call it without, sorry, didn't drink enough in the break. We had the talk from Todd where you see, like, you should call the Erlang stuff more directly. If you try to do this the other way around, it's kind of like not as nice, because you have this really long function name thing which you need to figure out which is called if you want to call something from Elixir. So interoperability wants to fix this. Security, observability, that's where the telemetry stuff is kind of like worked on. Sponsorship is duplicate there. Education, training, and adoption, it kind of like is clear what it does. Documentation, improving documentation. That's mainly improving Erlang's documentation and make it look as nice as Elixir's. And basically have the same, oh yeah, thank you. Have the same, have all the documentation look the same and be accessible the same, so you can just read across the documentations. That's what they work. And there's also embedded systems working group where Nerves and Grist project are kind of like working together on these like not standard application. And most important, the last working group, what are you passionate about? So the members basically generate the working groups. The board just approves them. We have a nice set to actually join. But if you have some other idea, for example, I recently had the idea we should probably have a Beam working group that actually works on the VM. Kind of like pulling all these efforts together and work on the VM outside of Ericsson. But open for ideas. So the current list of sponsors, which I pulled from the website just before the talk. So you see there's quite a bunch of sponsors already. There's the so-called founding sponsors. You can't get this tier, but the other sponsor tier, basically we want to fill this up too. So the founding sponsors should get smaller and smaller. So talk to your company or talk to me. Ask me about how you can get sponsor. I can assure you the money is put to good use to actually further the ecosystem so it kind of like stays and grows. Because we need to grow the ecosystem so it stays. It's kind of like important. If you don't grow it, it will dwindle eventually. So yeah, there's the website. There's several email addresses. There's more than that. There's on the Erlanger Slack, and I think on the Elixir Slack as well. I'm not sure if it's named the same. The channel is #EEF, and there's also the Twitter handle, and that's the end.